You know how it is? You're scrolling through your feeds trying to stay informed, but wow, it can feel like a lot sometimes.
It really can. Information overload.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you've landed in the right spot. Today on the deep dive, we're looking at something maybe you've seen, maybe even wondered about, Granfluencers.
Right. Granfluencers. We're talking about social media influencers who are, well, typically 60 or older, grandparent age.
Yeah, and it feels a little unexpected, doesn't it? Older people building these huge followings, partnering with big brands on platforms like TikTok and Instagram that we mostly associate with, younger people.
It definitely raises an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what's really going on there. Is it just a novelty or something more?
That's the question. You might expect, I don't know, the latest dance challenge on TikTok, not necessarily someone's grandmother sharing gardening tips and getting millions of views, but it's happening. It's a real trend.
A growing one, it seems.
Yeah. So that's our mission for this deep dive, to figure out why these Granfluencers are catching on, what kind of impact they're actually having, and what this all means for brands, for audiences, for all of us online, really.
And to do that, we've pulled together insights from quite a few places. We looked at marketing publications like Kingfluencers and Quainus.
Okay.
We checked out some psychology perspectives from Psychology Today, resources from LCB Senior Living, academic work from the ASA Generations Journal,
Hmm.
social media analysis from Sprout Social, cultural takes from Elespatio, and even, interestingly, a Reddit discussion about ageism in the influencer world.
Quite the mix. Okay, so the rise of Granfluencers. You see them popping up maybe on your For You page. But let's unpack this. It wasn't that long ago, I feel, that the assumption was older generations weren't really on platforms like TikTok. What's the real story?
Well, the numbers tell a pretty interesting story. Psychology Today, for instance, pointed out a 57% jump in boomers using TikTok just since 2021.
57%. Wow.
Yeah, that's a huge increase. It shows a real shift in, how different age groups are using these platforms now.
Yeah.
And it's not just that they're on there. Some are really dominating.
Dawning.
We're seeing grandfluencers pulling in massive follower counts. We're talking millions on both TikTok and Instagram. LCB Senior Living and Ellis Spacio mentioned people like Helen Van Winkle on Instagram.
Oh, at Batty Winkle.
Yeah.
That's what.
Or Barbara Costello, Brunch with Babs on TikTok. And Grandma Droniak, too. They have enormous reach.
It's still kind of amazing to think about Batty Winkle, Helen Van Winkle, rocking those outfits and connecting with millions at, what, 95? But who is following them? It can't just be other seniors, right?
No, not at all. And that's where it gets really interesting. ASA Generations
Yeah.
found this huge cross-generational appeal. Get this. 66% of Gen Z and millennials actually enjoy watching videos that feature older adults.
66%. Oh,
And
yeah.
even more telling, 78% of those younger viewers say they gain valuable knowledge from them.
Valuable knowledge. That's not always the first thing you associate with scrolling TikTok. So what is it? What's the secret sauce? Why are younger people connecting so strongly?
Well, it seems to boil down to a few core things. Authenticity comes up again and again in the sources, Kingfluencers, Psychology Today, ASA Generations.
Authenticity. Right.
Younger audiences seem really drawn to creators who feel genuine, comfortable with themselves, not trying too hard to be something they're not. Plus, there's often real entertainment value. Many are just funny or engaging or bring a different kind of energy.
And maybe challenging stereotypes, too.
Absolutely. They offer different perspectives, maybe a bit of wisdom, and they definitely push back against those old ideas about aging.
Okay, authenticity. That makes a lot of sense in today's very curated online world. Let's dig into that a bit more. Why is that specific quality so powerful for Granfluencers?
It seems crucial. Kingfluencers, Psychology Today, Sprout Social, Ellis Spacio, they all kind of point to this. Helen Police, who many know as at the Mothership on TikTok, she put it really well. She said something like, I want to highlight that it's okay to get older. I feel more authentic. I'm not afraid to be myself.
Hmm. That resonates. That self-acceptance.
It really does. And that authenticity feels like a direct contrast to, some of the unrealistic standards, beauty, lifestyle that get pushed online sometimes.
Definitely. It feels refreshing.
And connected to that is how they're just dismantling stereotypes about aging and social media use. Psychology Today, ASA Generation, Sprout Social, Ellis Spacio, again, they talk about this. These creators are showing off healthy living, Body positivity at any age, real vitality.
Yeah, like you mentioned Helen Van Winkle's style.
Exactly, her bold fashion. Or Grease Ghanem's pro-aging messages, Joan McDonald's incredible fitness journey, Kingfluencers highlighted these. Think about Erica Rishko doing these intense workouts. It challenges everything you thought you knew about what older people do or can do.
They're definitely showing aging doesn't mean fading away.
Not at all. And there seems to be an emotional connection
Yeah,
happening
well.
too. Psychology Today mentioned something interesting about TikTok's format.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of virtual eye contact you get in short videos.
Mm.
It can actually help build trust, create a bond.
Yeah. Virtual eye contact. Never thought of it that way.
And then there's the whole positive stereotype we often have about grandparents.
Right.
That they're, non-judgmental, supportive, loving. That can create what psychologists call a halo effect.
A halo effect.
Yeah, we might subconsciously transfer those warm, fuzzy feelings onto these online figures, which makes us trust them more, feel more connected.
That's actually a really lovely thought, like having a virtual grandparent figure pop up on your feed.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the element of surprise.
Yeah.
Sprout Social and El Espacio pointed this out.
Hmm.
For younger people who maybe have these fixed ideas about what older adults are like, seeing them jumping on trends, living these vibrant, engaged lives, it's unexpected. And that unexpectedness makes it really engaging. It breaks their assumptions.
So they're getting the views, the follows, the engagement, but what about actual influence? Are they having a deeper impact beyond just entertainment?
According to ASA Generations, yes, absolutely. Their impact goes way beyond likes. They're actually inspiring their own peers, encouraging them to try new things, challenging those negative views of aging that are still out there.
So peer-to-peer inspiration.
Definitely. But also potentially bigger shifts. They might be helping to change societal attitudes towards aging more broadly, maybe even influencing public policy down the line.
Yeah.
ASA Generations mentioned a study looking at older TikTokers who were actively confronting ageism on the platform.
Wow, so using their platform for advocacy, essentially.
Exactly. Not just self-expression, but pushing for change. And maybe one of the most positive impacts, highlighted by ASA Generations, is how they seem to be fostering intergenerational solidarity.
Bridging the gap.
Yeah. By connecting with younger folks who genuinely value their perspective, their authenticity, their wisdom, they're building understanding between generations, which feels pretty important right now.
It definitely does. Okay, so if they're having this impact and connecting with multiple generations, brands must be noticing this, right? Especially given the economic clout of older generations.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge piece of the puzzle. Kingfluencers, Psychology Today, LCB Senior Living, Sprout Social, they all stress the significant spending power of older demographics, especially baby boomers.
Right, the disposable income.
Exactly. Kingfluencers even pointed out that older consumers often outspend younger ones in most categories. So they're a very attractive market for brands.
So it's not just about brands using Granfluencers to reach younger people, it's also about reaching the older demographic directly.
Precisely. It works both ways, and brands are increasingly seeing the value here. The sources, Kingfluencers, ASA Generations, Sprout Social, El Espacio, all talk about this growing interest.
Why, though? What's the main appeal for a brand?
Well, beyond just reaching that valuable older audience,
Yeah.
it comes back to that authenticity we talked about. It helps brands cut through the clutter. The influencer market is so crowded, right? Kingfluencers had this great analogy they called Granfluencers a purple cow.
A purple cow.
Yeah, something that stands out in a field of regular cows. They're different. They capture attention because they're not the same as every other young influencer promoting a product.
Yeah,
They feel more memorable, maybe more trustworthy.
that makes total sense. When you're scrolling, someone unexpected definitely grabs your eye. Are there good examples of brands doing this well?
Yeah, definitely seeing more and more cool collaborations. LCB Senior Living and Sprout Social gave us a bunch, like Lynn Slater working with high-end brands like Perricone MD and Maison Margiela.
Wow, high fashion.
Right. And then Helen Van Winkle, Batty Winkle, she's worked with everyone from Svedka Vodka to Fashion Nova. Very different ends of the spectrum. HelloFresh in Germany worked with Propa. Joan McDonald, the fitness influencer, has teamed up with Women's Best and Sensate. Lynn Shabinsky works with Jones Road Beauty.
Makeup, nice.
Charlotte Simpson with Aura Frames, that's tech. And everyone loves Lynn Yamada Davis, Cooking with Linja, right? She partnered with Bush's Beans.
Oh, Linja. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
That's a really broad range of brands. Fashion, food, beauty, tech, wellness.
It really shows that their appeal cuts across different industries.
So if a brand is thinking, okay, maybe we should explore this, what should they keep in mind? Any tips for working with Granfluencers?
Kingfluencers had some good practical advice.
Mm,
Number one, obviously make sure it's a good fit. Does the influencer's vibe and content actually align with the brand?
makes sense. Authenticity again.
Exactly. And while you want to give them creative freedom, because that's part of their appeal, you still need a clear brief. What are the goals? What's the message?
Right. Clear communication.
And part of that communication is remembering they might not be, digital natives in the same way a 20-year-old influencer is. So maybe be a bit more patient or clear about the technical side of things.
Good point.
Account takeovers can work really well, letting their personality shine directly on the brand's channel. And finally, think about different types of campaigns that might resonate, maybe focusing on themes more relevant to their life stage or experiences.
Okay, that's helpful. Now, no trend is perfect.
Hmm.
Are there any potential downsides or challenges with this rise of Granfluencers?
Yeah, there are a few things to be mindful of. ASA generations brought up this idea of benevolent ageism.
Benevolent ageism. What's that?
It's the risk that older influencers become popular, mainly because people find them cute or sort of infantilize them, like, oh, look how adorable Grandpa's on TikTok,
Hmm.
rather than valuing their actual content or perspective.
Ah, I see. So it's positive on the surface, but still based on age rather than merit.
Right.
That's subtle but important.
It is. It's about making sure their success is genuine,
Yeah.
not just based on novelty or, being patronizing.
Right.
And then there's the ageism that can unfortunately pop up within the influencer world itself. That Reddit discussion we looked at, it touched on this.
Oh, yeah. What came up?
There was an example of a younger influencer suggesting, basically, that all the important life stuff happens by the time you're 35.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the reaction was pretty strong. People chimed in, sharing their own lives, achieving major things much later, pushing back hard against that very narrow view of life timelines.
That's good pushback. It's a reminder those biases are still out there, even in seemingly progressive online spaces.
Definitely. And ASA generations also noted the practical hurdles some older creators face, things like figuring out sponsorships, navigating the business side, and sometimes, sadly, dealing with ageist comments directly from users.
Ugh, that's tough. But despite those challenges, the success stories are really powerful. Maybe we can run through a few more examples just to give listeners a real feel for who's out there.
Yeah, great idea. We've mentioned some key names, but the range is amazing. There's Helen Police at the Mothership doing paid TikTok tutorials, super tech savvy.
Right.
We talked about Helen Van Winkle at Batty Winkle and her iconic fashion. Grease Gamo at Grease Canum, all about fashion and confidence. Joan McDonald at Train with Joan. Her fitness journey is just incredible.
Truly inspiring.
Propa at Propa Official on TikTok shares adventures in cooking. Erica Rishko at Erica Rishko doing those amazing workouts on Instagram.
Yeah, her energy.
There's JD at JD on TikTok. He shares his grandpa's amazing streetwear style, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Lynn Slater at Icon Accidental, who started as a fashion blogger. Barbara Costello at Brunch with Babs, everyone's favorite internet grandma giving tips.
Babs.
Irvin Randall at Irvin Randall, a.k.a. hashtag Anton Truly your grandma, known for his sharp style. Gunther Anton Krabenhoft in Berlin at G. Krabenhoft, another style icon.
So much style.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Lynn Davies at Cooking with Linja. Her hilarious cooking videos were huge. The Old Gays at Old Gays, sharing their joyful lives as 4 gay men in their 70s.
Love them.
Grandma Droniak at Grandma Droniak, with her unique brand of humor and advice. Lynn Shabinsky at White Hair Wisdom, focusing on makeup for mature skin. And Charlotte Simpson at Traveling Black Widow, sharing travel and tech.
Wow. What an amazing, diverse group. It really hammers home that, passion, personality, influence, they have absolutely no age limit online.
Not anymore, it seems.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what are the big takeaways for you? What should people really remember about Granfluencers?
I think the main thing is that this isn't just some niche curiosity. Granfluencers are a significant growing force in the online world. They offer really unique opportunities for brands,
Right.
but also for all of us as users to connect with content that often feels more authentic, more inspiring, and definitely challenges those outdated ideas about getting older.
Absolutely. It feels like proof that age really is becoming less of a barrier to having a voice, making connections, having an impact online. These creators show you can jump in, learn the tech, share your passion, whatever your age.
And they're doing more than just sharing recipes or fashion tips, right? They are actively pushing back against stereotypes and, as we discussed, potentially fostering really valuable connections between generations. That feels important.
It really does. So maybe here's a final thought for everyone listening. As you scroll today, Think about how these digital pioneers, these Granfluencers, might be subtly reshaping how we all see aging online. What could that mean for the future? For online communities, for marketing, for how different generations see each other?
Good question.
Maybe even seek out a few of the accounts we mentioned, see their impact for yourself. It's a really fascinating corner of the internet, and it's definitely evolving. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.